Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome from the Nur-e-Islam Masjid for our character building from the Hadith program, as we have every day until the time to break fast, inshallah. So, we'd like to welcome all of our viewers on our Facebook page and spread the word, inshallah, that we're on again. Sometimes we take a couple of minutes to get organized, we have to pray ourselves first and so on, but we are here with you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today, inshallah, we want to speak a little bit about a very important aspect of our character. An aspect of our character that, unfortunately, is something that is missed because we live in a society, or perhaps the whole world is like that today, where everything is built upon lies. Everything is built upon lies. You know, to find people who will be truthful now is really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard because it just seems as though lying becomes something second nature. It's like the in thing to do. And it's really unfortunate because it means that we cannot build relationships upon lies. Relationships built upon lies are never going to be stable. But this is what we're faced with in the society that we're living in. Look, right now in this pandemic, you know, the minister was talking today about, people are calling it, an epidemic of disinformation, a disepidemic, right? Because there's so much or misepidemic. There's so much misinformation about what's going on, about what the virus can do, what it cannot do, what are the symptoms, and so on and so forth. Imagine when you have relations with people and that relationship is not built on the truth. That person lies. How can that person, if they're a Muslim, earn your trust? If they're your spouse, earn your love? If they're your child or your parent, earn your respect? We must be truthful. And this is one of the qualities that Muslims must stand up for. We must never say that the society is one in which everybody else lies, so we will lie as well. Because you'll see that lying is something that once you start, it's difficult to stop. Once you make one lie, you continue lying more and more and more. But it's one of the things that is a right that a believer has upon another believer, that he is truthful to him. And how many times, me myself, personal example, people have come to us and you've trusted them and you've found out later on that they were lying. Even right now, throughout the country, there are thousands of hampers being given out. And you see people, they're formed it, for what I've heard is they've formed themselves into groups and they're looking every day where hampers are being given out and they're swarming those places. They may have maybe 10, 12 hampers in their homes while there are really genuinely poor, hungry people around. And how are you going to know who's being truthful, who really has hampers in their homes, or who's really starving? Everybody paints the same picture. So it's a sickness of the society that has to be stopped if the society has to progress and become better. And it's something that we as believers and as Muslims must try to do, inshallah. Look at one of the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ubadah ibn al-Samit, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He says to us, guarantee for me 6 deeds. Guarantee for me 6 deeds, and I will guarantee for you Jannah. So, in addition to, and this is why as well, these kind of hadith remind us that Islam is not just about prayer or fasting or zakah or hajj. Islam is about your character. That's why we're spending the entire month in this pandemic time to do this series on character building because Islam is about your character. And this is what will take you to paradise. Look at these things that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying will guarantee us paradise. It doesn't mean that we can abandon those things that are compulsory and these things will take us to paradise regardless. No. But it means that these are the missing elements in our lives. These will enhance our worship. This is the salt in the food that will make it taste good. All right? These are very, very important qualities that we must have. These are also some of the things that if we don't do them, It'll be as though we're filling a bucket with a hole. And as much as we're pouring water, every day we're pouring water, and in a month like Ramadan, we're pouring more and more water in larger quantities and bigger volumes. But at the same time, the water is continuously flowing out. It's flowing out. And even though we're temporarily seeing the level rising as we pour the water, when we turn our backs, the level is going to go back down until it eventually is going to empty out entirely because the hole is always in the bucket. And these are therefore the things that we need to make sure are not holes. Plug these holes. Number one, be truthful when you speak. This is the first thing the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam put on the list. Be truthful when you speak. Keep your promises when you make them. Second thing. Number one, be truthful when you speak. And number two, keep your promises when you make them, which is also connected to being truthful. Because if you're making a promise and you're not keeping it, then that's a lie, isn't it? It's a lie, but it's not just a lie in word, it's a lie in deed as well. Because when you make a promise, you're making a promise to do something, right? You're making a promise to do something. So when you're lying about that promise, the lie is in the words that you're saying, and the lie is in the fact that you're not going to fulfill your promise as well. So that's two different things. One is your statement, which is a lie. One is your actions, which you're lying about as well. You're not going to do. So when you make a promise, keep them. Keep them. And we know this famous story about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who promised to meet a person. For 3 days, he went to that place. That person forgot he had made that appointment with him. 3 days, the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam appeared there waiting for the man because he had made a promise. Today, how many of us make promises that we fail to keep? We don't even plan to keep. We just say them to get whatever we want, right? And we had no idea, no plan to keep those promises. Thirdly, when fulfill the trust, when you are entrusted, and this is the third thing. When you are trusted with something, and these all you see, these all link. These are all linked to being truthful as well. When you are trusted, fulfill that trust. And we talk about trust already, and the importance of fulfilling the trust. But just to reiterate, it means that when somebody gives you something, then it is your responsibility to keep that, to use that in the way that you had asked for it to be used and for the purpose, and that you give it back in the way that you received it, or even better. So if somebody lends you their car and you say to them, I want to borrow, my your car just to drop a friend X place. I have it with me already. I lent somebody my car, and then somebody called me and say, hey, what are you doing in Salford? I say, I'm not there, I'm here in a mission. I lent my car to a guy to just drop somebody down the road. No, I'm seeing your van all the way in the other place. Then I have to call the guy, and the guy says, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I had another thing to do. But that's breaking the trust because you never said that. That was not the agreement. And many times, we take Muslims for granted. We take people for granted as well. You borrow a man's lawnmower more, and you say you're gonna cut one lot of grass, and you cut an acre of grass with it. That's breaking the trust because maybe he would have said no if you told him it was gonna be an acre of grass that you're gonna cut. An acre of grass is a lot. A lot is okay. All right. So when you're entrusted with something, and this is especially important, with regard to people's secrets about, even their intimacy and their relationship together. How many times we've just heard it yesterday again, about a relationship that went south, and the husband, and sometimes it's the wife as well, puts all kinds of scandalous things about the former wife on the social media, makes all kinds of scandalous and nefarious claims about infidelity and so on. Sometimes they go even so far as to post pictures of their intimate moments, pictures that nobody in the public should be seeing, but because of spite, right? So these things, these pictures that you had, were a matter of trust. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, when you're entrusted with something, fulfill that trust. Fulfill that trust. There's so much to talk about with regard to this. Look, for example, the orphans. If you're entrusted with the wealth of the orphans and you abuse that wealth and you use it for yourself, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it's like eating fire into your bellies. Let's say you take the wealth of the orphan without his permission and you eat it. You buy food or whatever, you eat the wealth of the orphan without their permission, without their knowing. It's like eating fire into your bellies. It's not going to be of any benefit to you, right? It's going to be a real harm to you. So fulfill the trust when you are trusted. Then the next thing, guard your chastity. Guard your chastity. Because, we are living in a world where people do all kinds of things. And it's very, very easy to fall into temptation. Shaitan is around, the shayateen are around. You can be easily tempted. And that's why you guard your chastity through your behavior, through your dress, through your modesty, right? This is very important for both for men and for women. Sometimes, we see young men who dress in such a way that they are inviting people to look at them. Sometimes young women, they dress in such a way with all of their body parts being, pressed upon their clothing so that they leave very little to the imagination. That is not guarding your chastity. That is not guarding your chastity as well. Don't think it's just about not committing fornication and adultery. Guarding your chastity means that the way you dress, the way you speak, you don't speak to people who are not your mahram, for who are strangers to you in an alluring manner. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the perfume of the woman should be one that doesn't have any smell, because the smell, I mean, the smell is very, 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 you know, mild, because even that can trigger a strange man, right, and trigger a bad conversation. So all of these things are very, very important. That's why as well. The next point is lowering your gaze. That's part of guarding your chastity as well, to lower your gaze. So the first gaze is permissible and the second gaze is from shaitan. So sometimes the first gaze takes a very long time, right? The first gaze takes a very long time, right? And that's not correct at all. All right. The WhatsApp, Sheraz, the WhatsApp. Just text me about the WhatsApp. All right. Sorry about that. So that first um that first look, it should be a casual look. Not that you see something interesting and you just subhanallah, just keep looking and staring and imagining things. That's totally haram. Lower your gaze, right? And then restrain your hands from harming others. Restrain your hands from harming others. And all of these, we've discussed some of these before. These are 60s in the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, you do these things, you will guarantee you Jannah. And they all actually started with this thing about being truthful, being truthful. And all of them are really connected because the true Muslim will not do these kinds of things. Right? Now, similar hadith, I'll read a similar hadith to you. Accept 6 deeds from me, and I assure your acceptance in the paradise. So these are 6 deeds that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that we should be doing. When one of you speaks, let him not lie. Let him not lie. When one of you promises, let him not break it. When one of you is trusted, let him not betray it. Lower your gaze. Restrain your hands from harming yourselves and guard your chastity. These are, same points in a different hadith, right? And slightly different wording, but the same points, the same exact qualities, beginning as well with being truthful. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in many different ways, used to give advice and give fadilat and reward, promise of reward from Allah for our actions, because our actions are very, very telling very, very telling upon our character. A person with a good character, while everybody is prone to doing wrong things, will not necessarily do bad action. A person with, a bad character will not do good actions because his character is not good, right? So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in this hadith, I guarantee a house, I guarantee a house on the outskirts of paradise for one who leaves arguments even if he is right. So in this hadith, three other qualities are mentioned. Three qualities are mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us reward for if we would practice them. He would reward us if we would practice them. Number one, I guarantee a house on the outskirts of paradise for one who leaves arguments if he is right. Why? Because what does arguments really do sometimes? Arguments just divides people. Sometimes, I mean, if this is a philosophical argument, if this is a point about Islam that you're fighting, if this is a matter of life and death, if this is truth over haq, right? Over truth over falsehood, haq over batil. If this is something of some significance, then by all means, with the proper rules and regulations and etiquettes, argue your point. What do we argue about mostly, right? Who did this and who did that? Who is right and who is wrong? Who's responsible for this, who's responsible for that? Silly things, petty things, right? And sometimes these arguments escalate. You see it now. I mean, many of you have Facebook because many of you are watching this on Facebook. Of course, some of you are watching on TIN as well. But you see on Facebook arguments. It's one of the favorite things people like to look at. People arguing, and you see how quickly arguments escalate sometimes into violence over simple things, a simple word, a simple glance, you know, picking up something that does belong to you, right? Touching a man's car, simple little things, right? Taking food from his tree that really mean nothing in the scheme of life. But yet, but yet, Shaitan comes and adds fuel to that little spark that was created, that was the argument, and makes that into something big that sometimes results in a person getting chopped or a person getting killed or a person's character being destroyed or whatever. All of that because of an argument. So when the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says one who leaves arguments even if he's right, it means those petty, senseless arguments that don't go anywhere, that don't result in anybody becoming better off, that don't have anything positive at the end result of it. Those are the arguments that he is mentioning. Right? Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, leave arguments. The one who leaves an argument, even if it's right. And this is also applicable to the husband and wife relationship. Sometimes the husband and wife, they're going after it over simple little things. And nobody wants to say, I am wrong. But if a person leaves the argument, meaning that saying, okay, you know what? I take wrong. Forget it. I accept liability. Right? Let's leave it alone. You know what happens? The argument dies. Sometimes that's what the other party wants as well. They want to keep this argument going because they want to show that they are superior. But you back away, right? Back away. And this is what really takes strength. It takes strength not to get into a fight. It takes strength not to get angry. It takes strength not to, lose your cool. That takes strength. Anybody can just blow up and fight and argue and curse and behave like an imbecile. Everybody can do that. But really and truly, those people who they have control, then they can walk away from an argument, right? And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says he guarantees a house on the outskirts of paradise for one who leaves arguments, and a house in the middle of paradise for one who abandons lies. One who abandons lies even when joking. And this is very important, right? That sometimes we make jokes and we lie, and these lies are not nice. Now, if a person is making a joke over something theoretical or not true at all, he said a man was walking and he slipped and fell on a banana peel and he went into the manhole. That's not funny. But I mean, he made a joke out of that. Then okay, that's nothing. That's because he's not talking about. But if he said, "My brother Abdullah," you see, my brother Abdullah. One day he was watching a pretty girl and he hit his head on the bough of a branch of a tree, and that never happened. Abdullah didn't do that. Then it's a joke, but you're lying. You're lying, right? And sometimes when you're sitting among people, you make people the butt of your jokes, as they say, and you're lying about it. Everybody's laughing, and somebody that's not right. That is not right. It's not right to lie about somebody, right? Even sometimes we make jokes about politicians. Now, if you make joke about a politician about what he really did, right? Like some politicians have said to drink disinfectant for COVID and so on. Maybe that's not a lie, right? But if you say things which are lies and make a joke out of it, that's not right. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has so much of emphasis on this as being a serious thing not to do that he says, "I will guarantee a house in the middle of Jannah, subhanallah, for the one who abandons lies, even when joking." So it's not just about abandoning lying when joking; it's abandoning lying altogether. Right? Alhamdulillah, I can tell you that's one thing that I find really difficult to do. Maybe it's my upbringing, strict parents, or whatever, I don't know. But I find it terribly difficult to lie. I could probably count the number of times I've done that because, it is really, really, we know, because it's wrong, it's haram. But I know that we're living in a society where it's really common. And, so because I find it so difficult to do myself, I am easily fooled by it because I never expect it from people when they lie. Until somebody else goes, he lying. That's not true. He don't have 5 children at home and he want 2 hampers. He's not even married. He's lying. But they lie with a straight face, right? So you really don't know. So the thing about it is that this lying, this abandoning of lying is really, really important because when you lie, when you lie, right, then you break trust that people have with you. And remember the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said as well, it is enough for a person to be considered a liar that he narrates all that he hears. It's enough for you to be a liar that you narrate all that you hear. So even sometimes lying is not just a deliberate lying, right? Which is what is referred to here in Hadith. But sometimes a lie may be something where we just repeating information, right? Repeating information. The Quran tells us about fatabayyanu, verify, right? In ja'akum fasikun binaba'in fatabayyanu. For you believe, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, in ja'akum fasikun binaba'in fatabayyanu. If it is that, or you believe that a fasik, a person doesn't have good qualities, comes to you with news, fatabayyanu, then verify that. But that's not our nature. Our nature is, look, this thing is just too juicy to hold on to. I love my brother so much, I need to share this information immediately so he can share in it as well without us verifying that it's the truth, especially if it's information about somebody. All right? That becomes a real issue. And here, the last part of the city. And I guarantee a house in the highest part of Jannah for one who makes his character excellent. Now, this is a really very interesting part of the hadith because both of those things that we mentioned before, on the outskirts of Jannah, in the middle of Jannah, have to do with your character as well. Your ability to walk away from an argument, your ability to control yourself, not get angry, right? As well as your ability to be truthful and not lie. These are both elements of a good character. But you see, the reason why, perhaps one of the reasons why we can gain from this hadith the importance of good character is that, or one of the things we can gain about the importance of good character in this hadith is that it is valued you getting a place in the highest part of Jannah because it is not so easy to develop. It's not so easy to get. And it's not just two things or three things, it's a lot of things that goes into your character. That's why we could talk for the whole month about character building, because there's so many elements about being truthful, about being honest, about being just, about controlling your anger, about not having envy, about not, committing sins, about all kinds of manners of things that go towards molding a person's character. But subhanallah, what is the reward for it? The highest part of Jannah. What do you want better than that? What do we need better than that? Right? One of the things about this time that we're living in now is that it reminds us of a little bit about the frailty of this world. This is just a virus that's causing so many changes in the world. What about if there was some massive earthquakes or hurricanes or disasters or tsunamis or whatever? What about if it were happening on a worldwide scale? No, who can stop it? Right? I mean, the whole world will be destroyed in this way, with mountains rolling like cotton balls. So this kind of thing reminds us that we really need to work towards the hereafter. And one of the key things about working towards the hereafter, after ensuring that we're following the commands of Allah, like our salah and our fasting and our zakah and our hajj, and of having firm faith in Allah and His Messenger, and staying away from the haram and doing the halal and eating and drinking halal and staying away from the haram things, is to build our character as well in different aspects. All right. So here are some more hadith about being truthful. Whosoever is pleased to love Allah and His Messenger, or to be loved by Allah and His Messenger, let him be truthful when he speaks. Let him be truthful when he speaks. Let him fulfill the trust to whom it is due, and let him treat anyone well. Let him treat well anyone who would be his neighbor. Let him treat his neighbors with good treatment. Right? As we had said earlier, your neighbor is that one who could be 40 people, 40 houses away from you, or those who are around you. When you call the adhan, they can hear you, or the iqamah, they can hear you. Different, definitions, but you know what your neighbors are. You know who you consider to be your neighbors. Treat them with kindness. So, three things I mentioned. Be truthful again. Be truthful when you speak. Fulfill the trust, mentioned again. And the third thing is treat your neighbor well. Right? And another hadith, similar again. All of these hadiths are similar. And you see, you have to ask yourself as well, why the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam keeps bringing these hadith over and over again. Similar qualities. Because these are qualities that we all need to develop in order to become the people who will get the highest part of the Jannah. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, narrated by Abdullah bin Amr, in a hadith that is found in Musnad Ahmad and graded as Sahih. If you have these four qualities, right? If you have these three qualities, you will not worry about what you missed in the world. If you have these four qualities, you will not worry about what you missed in the world. Fulfilling the trust, truthful speech, good character, and restraint with food. If you have these four qualities, you will not worry about what you missed in the world, meaning you will not pine after the material things. Because that's what happens with many of us. We become so engrossed in the material things that we don't even think about our character. We don't even think about being truthful. We will go to distance to get what we want materially. We will lie, we will cheat, we will backbite, we will slander, we will thief, we will do whatever we have to do. Right? Forge, whatever, just to get that little bit of wealth in our hands, just to achieve that little extra thing. Right? I mean, people, subhanAllah, they steal from people who are good to them as well. How many times you heard about servants working for somebody and the owner treating them real good, and yet they're stealing through their teeth, stealing from them. How many times you heard about workers, employees, and businesses, and the businessmen are paying them their due, but they're stealing parts, stealing parts, putting it in their pockets. That kind of thing. So, subhanAllah, we need to be very, very, very truthful. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us about our greed for the things of this world prevents us from having these kind of qualities, right? And if you had these kind of qualities, then you wouldn't have that greed for the world. Then you would not worry about what you've missed in the world. You will not be jealous about people and what they have. You will not be willing to, climb over people's backs to get what you want. You will be a person who would be well liked and loved and not in love with what people have. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said is that one way to for people to like you is to not be interested in what they have, not be interested in what they have, not always wanting what they have, right? That you want from them what they have. Then they will like you. But anybody who goes by somebody and they're always interested, hey, can I have one of this? Can I have one of that? Can I get this? Can I get that? How do you get that? How do you get this? Then they're not gonna like you. They're not gonna like you. So these four qualities, fulfilling the trust, same thing again. Truthful speech, same thing again. Good character, same thing again. The fourth one is different now. That's why I'm bringing up the hadith. We've trained with food. Because you see this gluttony that we sometimes have where we just want to eat and drink and no stopping. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there is no vessel that the believer can fill worse than his stomach. And sometimes people eat till they're filled. I mean, many of us, we eat a little too much, right? And, we love food. Food is something that is comfort. There's something called comforting food, comfort food. Especially at a time like this, many people are just eating at home because they can't go out, they can't exercise. So they're eating more, putting on some weight as well, even though they're fasting, but they're making things for suhoor and iftar and so on. Okay, so that's one thing. That's not being gluttonous or being greedy. But sometimes you see people who they just, they just go above board with food, right? And it's because of a greed that they have. A greed. They're willing even to steal to have more and more and more, to eat more and more and more. So he's trained with regard to food and not getting too overly exuberant about food. Understanding that food is just a means of your sustenance and a means of your getting health. In fact, it is truth that many people in the world, right, they just live for food. They just live for food, and because of that, shaitan takes them into that direction where they are not really, understanding the purpose of life because food is all that they're interested in. And there are recipes that they could make every single day, but they'll never finish making recipes and never finish chasing the food. There's always 100 ways to do things. So this makes a person move away from what is the real focus of his life. So the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, restrain from food. All right. Now another aspect of being truthful is this that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying. He says, "Da ma yaribuk ila ma la yaribuk." He says, "Leave what makes you doubt for that which for that for what does not make you doubt. Leave what makes you doubt for what does not make you doubt. Verily, truth brings peace of mind, and falsehood sows doubt." So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, "Leave that which makes you doubt for that for which you have no doubt." And that happens many times with regard to the same food I was talking about. There are many times, we just have this, you see this thing advertising and you just want to eat it, right? And you just want it. This new restaurant opens, you just want to go there. But nobody's been able to check them out. They may be claiming they halal, but you're not sure, right? So there's doubt. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Leave that which makes you doubt, for that which doesn't have any doubts in it. Stay away from the doubtful matters." The hadith says the halal is clear, al halalu bayyin or haram bayyin. The halal is clear and the haram is clear, but between both of that, there are the mushtabihat, the doubtful matters. Stay away from the doubtful matters with regard to sustenance as well. Many times we want to start a career now. So, subhanAllah, many people who are in this, people watching this program may be involved in careers that are not of the best. Maybe involved in banking, maybe involved in alcohol, whatever. So many times people didn't think carefully, didn't have the right understanding, didn't have the knowledge, didn't consult, and they took a job and they were in it. And I'm not saying to you, especially in these difficult times, you realize that the job you have is not the best job to just abandon everything and go on the breadline, then you're coming for hampers. No. But I'm saying that when you are going to make a choice, right, then choose something for which there is no doubt over that which brings doubt. Choose a career which where there is no doubt in it, right? Instead of a career that where there's going to be doubt. Because the truth, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, brings peace of mind, and falsehood, he says, brings doubt. Falsehood, he says, brings doubt. I'm not counting. Falsehood, he said, brings doubt. All right, so leave what makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. Verily, truth brings peace of mind, and falsehood, it sows doubt. All right, Subhanallah. Abdullah bin Amr reported again this next hadith. I said, O Messenger of Allah, who are the best people? Now we've heard many hadith about who are the best people or what is the best deed, right? But here this one out, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, right? Dhu qalbi, right? Dhu qalbi al mahmoom, right? One with an open heart, swept clean and truthful in speech. One with an open heart, swept clean and truthful in speech. That is the best person. A person with a open heart. One with a heart, sorry, not swept, not open. A heart swept clean and truthful in speech. A heart swept clean means that a person does not hold any grudges against a person. His heart is clean. He is not. He doesn't have any biases against you. He is not. He doesn't have any discriminatory qualities against you. Right? His heart is swept clean, and his speech is truthful. So when you come to him, he's not saying in his mind, I don't like him because of the color of his skin. I don't like him because of the race that he belongs to. I don't like him because of his where he comes, which country he belongs to. I don't like him because of whatever reason. His eyes are too big, right? Um, or I don't like him because of our last interaction and how he spoke to me. Right? He might have been right, but he was abusive, whatever. So I'm going to deal with him in a different manner. No, 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 no. The best people, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, those the one with a heart swept clean of these maladies, of these illnesses. Right? His heart is clean, and his heart being clean will propel his speech to be truthful as well. Right? Propel his speech to be truthful. So one with a heart swept clean and one truthful in speech. We said, O Messenger of Allah, we know truthful in speech. What is a heart swept clean? He says, one that is mindful of Allah, one that is mindful of Allah and pure, in which there is no sin, no aggression, no envy, right? One that is mindful of Allah, a person who thinks about Allah, who loves Allah, who obeys Allah, who lives for Allah, who will die for Allah, one who is for Allah. His heart is pure, his heart is clean. He doesn't go to doubtful matters. He's straightforward with his deen. He's pure, he's simple, he's easygoing, he's understandable, he's amiable, he's pleasant, he's confident, he's content. Right? These are the qualities that the Prophet ﷺ is talking about. He says, one who is mindful of Allah, one who is mindful of Allah and pure, in which there is no sin. So there is no sin in his heart, meaning that he is not inclined to committing sin, to doing wrong things. He may commit sin, may make mistakes. We are all sinners, we all make mistakes, we all seek repentance from Allah. But the point here being that his heart is not inclined towards sin, doesn't commit sin, doesn't want to commit sin, right? And no aggression. The same thing about he walks away from an argument. Not an argument about deen, by the way, or even an argument about deen that is going in a direction where you are now becoming violent or abusive or using foul language. Okay, walk away from that. But we should not walk away from arguments about deen or arguments about truth, right? When we leave that hanging, in other words, people will think the opposite. Okay, he's arguing about religion, and you just say, well, you know what? I don't argue with you. You take right about religion, about deen, about Islam. No, 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 no. You stand your ground and show where you are right, where Islam is right. Unless you don't know, and then you say, well, I don't know, but I will find out and get back to you. Or something where the truth is being established and you don't want to get into an argument, say, well, okay, right, well, you take right now. And the person around who listens, or even the person with whom you're arguing, accepts the falsehood as the truth because you didn't convince him. So that's not what it's talking about, right? It's talking about, as we said in the beginning, the aggression that is senseless and aimless and has no value to it, no profit to it, right? And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, there is no envy. And with envy as well, I mean, as I said before, with envy comes malice, hatred, anger, discrimination, racism, right? Having a grudge on somebody, all of these qualities. And as well, so we said, the companion said, who shows signs of this? Who shows signs of this? Meaning one is mindful of Allah, his heart is, and pure, in which there is no sin, no aggression, no envy. This is the one who has a heart that is swept clean and truthful in speech. They asked the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who shows sign of it? The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, a believer with good character. A believer. Notice the wording that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. Mu'minun fi khuluqin hasan. Mu'minun fi khuluqin hasan. A mu'min, a believer, fi, in him, fi khuluqin, fi khuluqin hasanin, with a good character. A believer with a good character. So two things are here. Not a person with a good character, because subhanAllah, we have witnessed in this world so many people with good characters who Allah alone knows, but they didn't die as believers as far as we know, right? People like Nelson Mandela, people like Mother Teresa, and so on. They did tremendous things in the world. Mahatma Gandhi did tremendous things in the world. Many people would have benefited from. They had excellent characters that we can learn a lot from them, right? They have left statements that people listen and follow and writings, but they didn't die as believers as far as we know. We don't know what happened at the time when they were going to die, but as far as we know. So, what will be their case from what we know from the ahadith? They will not be successful because they didn't die testifying that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, despite all of the good deeds that they did, right? So having good character is one thing, but the Messenger of Allah was saying a believer with good character. So then on the other hand, now we have some believers, people who will testify, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. They testify that they're believers, but their characters are no good. No good character. They are praying salah, they're fasting, they're paying zakah, but they lie, they backbite, they slander, they are racist, they're discriminatory, they will cheat, they will forge, they will do everything under the sun to get their way. But they are Muslim, praying 5 times a day, long hijab and kurta and topi and and gown. Right? So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is very, very clear, right? That the best of people, who are the best of people? One with a heart swept clean and truthful in speech, one that is mindful of Allah and pure, in which there is no sin, no aggression, and no envy. And when they asked, what is the sign of such a person? They said, a believer with a good character. A believer with a good character. Subhanallah. This is the crux of the matter, my brothers and sisters. And that's why we're doing character building from the ahadith. Because from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we can learn what is really important for us in our lives. we can learn how to really become successful. Not just in Salah, but I don't want to underplay Salah and so on. I want to talk about Salah and fasting as Hajj and Zakah as the pillars of Islam. But I also want to say that if we don't have a good character, then our Islam and our Iman and our belief is also deficient. All right, so there are many, many more hadith in this thing about being truthful. So I want to continue with this tomorrow, inshallah, because I think we're running out of time already. So let's stop here today, but we'll continue tomorrow for another program, inshallah, those of you. Until then, Jazakallah for watching. I will see you again tomorrow, inshallah, for another program, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And for those of you who are on our live stream, we'll continue, inshallah. It's 6:18, 6:19, according to my um, phone. And we are breaking fast today. Today, of course, being Thursday, the 7th of May, day number 14, day number 13, sorry. And we're breaking fast at 6:22. Just one more day after that for 6:22. And then we get one more minute, right? One more minute to fast and one more minute, inshallah, to talk to you as well, inshallah. All right, so we want to also make a dua today as well. So we just, give a couple of minutes for that. But what I wanted to say as well is that many people are asking about how can they pay their regular donations to the masjid. Alhamdulillah, we are going to be sending a WhatsApp message very soon that will indicate to you all of the numbers of the bank accounts that we have. They are in First Citizens, and therefore those of you with First Citizens accounts can wire transfer. They can send their money directly. I don't know if from other banks you can send it, but perhaps you can. From other banks as well, send it directly because I know that going to the bank, number one, is going to be tough for many people, and also transferring your money, taking your money out and bringing it to the masjid is going to be another issue. Now, the masjid's office is open every day from 4 until 8. And Brother Samir is here, inshallah, every day. And Monday to Sunday, and he will take whatever donations you have, your sadaqah, your sadaqatul fitr, your fidya, your zakah, your donations towards the general fund and the building fund, the zakah fund, the education fund. We'll take all of that, inshallah. All of those we will take. But if you find it difficult, then we will send out a message with all of the account numbers, inshallah, and you can be able to send them. Of course, if you have checkbooks as well, and you don't have cash because you didn't, weren't able to go to the bank, then we will take the checks as well, inshallah, right? And you can always call my number as well if it is that you cannot come at 4 o'clock. There are brothers here for the Dhuhr Salah as well. They will also be able to take it um, uh, and give it to us, and we will make a receipt and get it back to you, inshallah. But we should try our best, inshallah, to pay those funds that we have to pay. All right. So any difficulties, you can come to us. Remember, the office is open every day, inshallah. For the Samir is here. I am here as well, so we could always work that out, inshallah. All right. Because one thing I want to mention is that our sadaqah and our zakah, they help people throughout the entire year. We're still paying our zakat to our recipients. So whatever you can do to help that continue for the rest of the year, which will be a difficult year coming up, inshallah. We hope that you will be able to do it, inshallah. All right, so let's make a little dua, inshallah, at 6:21, and very soon the adhan will call. So those of you who want to join me, inshallah, you can join me. You can listen as well, inshallah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين رب ارحمهما كما ربيانا صغارا اللهم صل على سيدنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Ya Allah, we have fasted today. Ya Allah, we ask that you forgive us for any shortcomings we have made in this fast. Ya Allah, we ask, Ya Allah, that you accept our fast, Ya Allah, despite these shortcomings, Ya Allah, and give us the strength to fast again for the rest of this month of Ramadan. We pray, Allah, that all of the believers around the world who are undergoing oppression, difficulty, drought, famine, hardship, hunger, thirst, whatever problems they face, Ya Allah, please make those problems go away, Ya Allah, and make it easy for them in this blessed month of Ramadan. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. Alright, you would hear the adhan calling, I think, inshallah. So we would like to say Jazakallah for joining us today. And let us break fast, inshallah. We say, Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizkika aftartu. O Allah, for thy sake have I fasted, and I break the fast with the food that comes from thee. Bismillah wa ala barakatillah. Alhamdulillah. So, another day is gone, inshallah. We hope to see you later for our summary of the tafsir after the Isha Salah. And then as well, the live streaming of the Taraweeh. Mawlana Zakaria is doing a wonderful job, subhanAllah. And then after that, inshallah, Islamic manners with Mufti Abrar. Then I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the morning for another live program on right here on our Facebook page, inshallah. Please tell others so they can join us as well. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.